Pay attention to this video. October 18th, 2024, 9:17 p.m. Ridgecrest Apartments, Building C, Tacoma, Washington. The footage comes from a fixed hallway security camera mounted above the elevator doors on the third floor. The lens faces east, capturing the elevator entrance, 4 apartment doors, and a narrow strip of beige carpet running down the corridor. There is no audio. 9:17:03 p.m. The elevator doors open. A woman steps out first. She is holding her phone in her right hand. Her hair is tied back. She wears dark jeans and a light gray sweater. She does not look at the camera. She turns left toward apartment 3C. 9:17:06 p.m. A man exits the elevator behind her. He is carrying nothing. He keeps his hands at his sides. The elevator doors close behind him. 9:17:10 p.m. The woman, later identified as 29-year-old Nayla Harper, reaches apartment 3C. She pauses. She appears to be searching for keys in her left pocket. The man stops 2 steps behind her. He does not attempt to pass. 9:17:16 p.m. Nayla turns her head slightly over her right shoulder. Her mouth moves. There is no audio. The man responds with a brief nod. His posture remains upright. His hands remain visible. 9:17:22 p.m. Nayla unlocks the door. She pushes it open halfway. The interior of the apartment is dark. 9:17:25 p.m. She steps inside. The man remains in the hallway. 9:17:28 p.m. Nayla reappears in the doorway. She says something again. She gestures inward with her hand. The man enters the apartment. 9:17:32 p.m. The door remains open. The hallway is empty. 9:17:41 p.m. A shadow crosses the interior wall, visible through the doorway. Movement inside. The camera angle does not show what is happening beyond the threshold. 9:18:04 p.m. The man steps backward into view. He is now facing the hallway. His expression is not clearly visible due to lighting. He reaches for the doorknob with his right hand. 9:18:07 p.m. He pulls the door closed. 9:18:09 p.m. The latch clicks into place. 9:18:12 p.m. The hallway remains still. The elevator does not open again. No one enters or exits. 9:26:53 p.m. The same man exits apartment 3C alone. He is no longer holding anything. He locks the door from the outside. He checks the handle once. Then he walks toward the stairwell at the end of the hall, moving out of frame at 9:27:04 p.m. Nayla Harper does not appear on camera again. In the weeks that followed, investigators would return to this footage repeatedly. They would slow it down, zoom in, measure the seconds between movements. And a detail buried in these frames would later change how this entire case was understood. But on October 18, 2024, at 9:27 p.m., the hallway was quiet. This is the last time Nayla Harper is seen alive. 11 days later, October 29, 2024, 6:12 a.m. Tacoma Police Department non-emergency line. A maintenance supervisor from Ridgecrest Apartments reports a persistent odor coming from Unit 3C in Building C.
He states that neighbors on both sides have complained for 2 days. He confirms that the tenant, Nayla Harper, has not been seen since October 18. Her car remains in the parking lot. Rent was paid through automatic withdrawal. Her phone goes directly to voicemail. At 8:04 a.m., officers arrive at the complex. The apartment 3C is still locked. There are no signs of forced entry on the doorframe, no damage to the lock. The deadbolt is engaged from the outside position. Management unlocks the door using a master key while officers stand by. The interior lights are off. The air inside the apartment is heavy. Windows are closed. Thermostat reads 71 degrees. Nayla Harper is found in the bedroom. She is on the floor between the bed and the dresser. There are no obvious signs of a struggle in the living room. The couch cushions are undisturbed. A ceramic mug sits on the kitchen counter beside a phone charger. Her purse is hanging from a chair near the entryway. Her keys are not inside it. There is no immediate evidence of forced entry after October 18. Crime scene technicians document the apartment, photographs, measurements, bagged evidence. A partial fingerprint is lifted from the inside doorknob, another from the exterior deadbolt. Time of death is estimated to be the night of October 18, within hours of the hallway footage. The case appears, at first glance, contained. The last known person seen entering the apartment with Nayla Harper is the man captured on the hallway camera at 9:17 p.m. Residents in Building C are interviewed. Several recall seeing the pair in the elevator before. Some describe them as quiet. No reported arguments, no noise complaints on the night of October 18. At 4:37 p.m. that same day, an anonymous call is placed to Tacoma police. The caller is male. His voice is steady. He does not identify himself. He says, "You're looking at the wrong time on that hallway camera." He hangs up. The call lasts 14 seconds. Investigators review the footage again, frame by frame. They confirm the timestamps. They verify that the system clock was synchronized with the building's central security server. There is no obvious discrepancy. Still, the caller's statement is logged. The autopsy reveals no defensive wounds on Nayla's arms or hands, no broken fingernails, no overturned furniture in the bedroom. Cause of death is determined to be manual strangulation. There are faint bruises along the left side of her neck. No neighbors report hearing shouting. No one reports hearing a struggle. Her phone records show her last outgoing text was sent at 8:58 p.m. on October 18. It reads, "Just got home." The message was sent to a contact saved as M. At 9:03 p.m., she receives a reply, "On my way." Investigators cross-reference that time with the hallway footage. The elevator doors opened at 9:17 p.m. The timeline appears consistent. But the anonymous caller's statement introduces a question. What exactly is the wrong time? Digital forensic analysts are brought in to extract data from the building's security system. They download raw files rather than reviewing the compressed playback version used by management. They discover something subtle. Between 9:18:12 p.m., when the hallway becomes still, and 9:26:53 p.m., when the man exits the apartment alone, there's a brief 47-second interval where the camera feed skips forward without visible distortion. The transition is clean. No glitch, no pixelation. The timestamp jumps. It resumes at 9:19:01 p.m. That gap is not visible during standard playback speed. It becomes noticeable only when the raw file is examined frame by frame. 47 seconds unaccounted for. The man seen entering and leaving apartment 3C has not yet been publicly identified. Detectives confirm privately that he and Nayla Harper knew each other. But as October turns to November, a new question emerges. If the hallway camera caught everything, why is there nearly a full minute missing from the record? And who knew to tell police to look at the time? The building remains occupied. Residents walk past apartment 3C every day. The carpet is replaced, the door is repainted, but the elevator camera continues recording, as it always has, waiting. The investigation has only begun.
Before October 18, 2024, Nayla Harper followed a routine that rarely changed. She was 29 years old. She worked as a medical billing coordinator for a regional healthcare provider in downtown Tacoma. Her schedule was consistent, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. She usually left her apartment at 7:50 a.m. The hallway camera in Building C recorded her most weekdays, walking alone toward the elevator with a tote bag over her shoulder and a travel mug in her hand. She lived in apartment 3C for just under 18 months. Rent was paid automatically on the first of each month. Utilities were in her name. Her credit history showed no late payments. Her bank statements reflected regular grocery purchases, streaming subscriptions, and a gym membership she used 3 times a week. Swipe records from the fitness center show check-ins on October 14, 15, and 17. She called her mother every Sunday evening. Phone records show the calls averaged 22 minutes. On October 13, the call lasted 26 minutes. Her mother later told investigators they discussed holiday plans. Nayla mentioned she might host Thanksgiving for the first time. Her apartment reflected similar patterns of consistency. The refrigerator contained labeled meal prep containers dated October 16 and October 17. A whiteboard mounted near the kitchen displayed a handwritten list: laundry, send invoice, pick up dry cleaning. The dry cleaning ticket was folded on the entryway cable. The pickup date printed on it was October 19. There were no signs she planned to leave town. Her vehicle, a gray 2017 Honda Civic, remained parked in its assigned space from the evening of October 18 onward. Security footage from the parking lot confirmed she arrived home at 9:11 p.m. that night. She exited her car alone. Friends described her as private but responsive. Text threads show steady communication with a small group of contacts. Short messages confirmed plans. On October 16, she texted a coworker, "Lunch tomorrow?" On October 17, she confirmed attendance at a team meeting scheduled for October 21. She did not attend that meeting. Inside the bedroom, investigators noted framed photographs on the dresser. Family gatherings, a beach trip. One photograph showed Nayla standing beside a man whose face was partially turned away from the camera. The frame was not knocked over. It remained upright when officers arrived. There were no packed bags, no missing clothing beyond what she wore on October 18. Dark jeans, gray sweater, white sneakers. Those items were found in the bedroom. Her laptop was open on the dining table. The screen had entered sleep mode. When accessed, the last active document was a spreadsheet time-stamped 6:12 p.m. on October 18, work-related. Digital forensics revealed no recent searches suggesting distress, relocation, or travel planning. The contact saved as M appeared frequently in her call logs over the previous 3 months. Outgoing calls averaged 9 minutes, incoming calls slightly shorter. The frequency increased in the 2 weeks before her death. On October 5, there were 3 calls exchanged in a single evening. On October 12, one call lasted 41 minutes. There were no saved voicemails.
Neighbors described seeing Nayla occasionally in the hallway with the same man captured on October 18. They did not report raised voices, no visible arguments. One neighbor recalled them standing near the elevator on October 10, speaking quietly. The interaction lasted less than a minute. Building access logs show the man's key fob was not registered to any resident in Building C. That meant he did not officially live there. Yet camera footage from September shows him entering alongside Nayla on at least 6 separate evenings. Each time she unlocked apartment 3C herself. No maintenance requests were filed by Nayla in the month before her death. No police reports, no documented complaints. Her life, by measurable accounts, was structured. Work, gym, groceries, Sunday phone calls, rent paid, car parked in the same space. On the morning of October 18, she left for work at 7:52 a.m. The hallway camera recorded her adjusting her bag strap as she waited for the elevator. She glanced briefly toward the lens, though not directly at it. At 5:18 p.m., she returned home carrying a small shopping bag. She entered apartment 3C alone. At 8:42 p.m., her phone connected to the apartment Wi-Fi network after being idle for over 2 hours. At 8:59 p.m., she sent the text, "Just got home." At 9:17 p.m., the elevator doors opened. Investigators would later say there was nothing in Nayla's recent history that suggested disappearance. No sudden withdrawals, no goodbye messages, no travel reservations, no unexplained absences. Her routines were intact until they weren't. And somewhere inside those routines, in the increasing calls to M, in the repeated entries captured by hallway cameras, in the unremarkable exchanges that neighbors barely noticed, was a shift subtle enough to pass without alarm. It would only become visible in hindsight, because routine, when viewed in real time, looks like stability. It is only after it breaks that its edges become clear.
The man seen entering apartment 3C at 9:17 p.m. on October 18 was identified 3 days after Nayla Harper's body was discovered. His name was Marcus Ellison, 34 years old, self-employed. He operated a small property renovation business registered in Pierce County. No felony record. One prior misdemeanor citation for disorderly conduct in 2018. Case closed with a fine. He did not live at Ridgecrest Apartments. He lived 20 minutes away in a duplex in South Tacoma. Lease in his name, utilities active, no co-tenants listed. Phone records confirmed he was the contact saved as M. Investigators interviewed him on November 1. He arrived voluntarily. He acknowledged being at Nayla's apartment on October 18. He stated they had been seeing each other for approximately 4 months, not exclusive, no formal relationship. He described it as casual. When asked about the hallway footage, he confirmed he entered the apartment at approximately 9:17 p.m. He said he left around 9:25 p.m. He denied any argument. He denied any physical altercation. He stated that Nayla was alive when he left. He explained the door being locked from the outside by saying she asked him to lock it because she was going to shower and did not want to walk back to the entryway. Investigators asked why there were no outgoing communications from Nayla after 8:58 p.m. He responded that she wasn't always on her phone. He was calm during the interview. Phone location data placed his device inside Ridgecrest Apartments from approximately 9:12 p.m. until 9:29 p.m. on October 18. After 9:31 p.m., his phone pinged a tower near South 38th Street, consistent with the route back to his residence. Detectives asked about the increasing frequency of calls between them in early October. Marcus said they had discussed future plans. When asked to clarify, he stated he had proposed the idea of moving in together. He claimed Nayla was hesitant. Friends of Nayla provided a slightly different picture. One coworker reported that Nayla mentioned feeling pressured in recent weeks. The coworker could not recall exact wording, but remembered Nayla saying, "He wants things faster than I do." Another friend described Nayla as reevaluating the relationship. Text messages extracted from Nayla's phone show a conversation on October 14. Marcus, "I can't keep waiting around forever." Nayla, "I'm not asking you to wait forever." Marcus, "Then what are you asking?" There was no reply after that message until October 15, when Nayla sent, "Busy day, talk later." Investigators also reviewed financial records. On October 6, Marcus transferred $2,000 to Nayla via a peer payment app. The memo line read, "For deposit." On October 8, Nayla transferred the same amount back. No explanation was written in the transaction notes. When asked about this exchange, Marcus stated it was related to a possible rental property they had discussed jointly. He said the plan fell through. Nayla's bank statements showed no application fees or rental inquiries during that period. Security footage from earlier in October showed Marcus arriving at Ridgecrest Apartments alone on October 12 at 7:03 p.m. He used the call box. Nayla buzzed him in. He left at 11:15 p.m. On October 16, hallway footage captured them standing outside apartment 3C for nearly 3 minutes before entering. There was visible hand movement, no audio. At one point, Nayla folded her arms across her chest. Marcus leaned closer. The door eventually opened. They went inside. Neighbors did not report raised voices, but one resident in Unit 3B recalled hearing something drop around 10 p.m. on October 16. The sound was not repeated. No one called management. Investigators also noted something else. Marcus's renovation business had been experiencing financial strain. Bank records obtained through warrant showed 2 maxed-out credit cards and a business account balance under $300 as of October 15. He had searched online for short-term apartment termination penalties on October 11th. When asked about this, he said he was considering relocating. There was no evidence that Nayla was planning to relocate. The relationship, as reconstructed through digital records, appeared uneven. Marcus initiated most of the calls. Marcus sent longer messages. Marcus raised topics about moving in together. Nayla's responses were shorter. On October 18 at 8:58 p.m., she sent, "Just got home." At 9:03 p.m., he replied, "On my way." Investigators would later consider whether that visit was planned in advance or decided in the moment. There were no witnesses to what happened inside apartment 3C between 9:17 p.m. and 9:26 p.m. No audio, no direct recording, only a hallway camera that showed him entering and leaving alone. At this stage of the investigation, Marcus Ellison was not charged. He cooperated. He provided fingerprints voluntarily. One matched the partial lifted from the inside doorknob. He said that made sense. He had used it. There were no defensive wounds on his hands when photographed on November 1. He maintained that he left Nayla alive. The case remained open, and the missing 47 seconds in the hallway footage remained unexplained.
In the weeks before October 18, nothing in Nayla Harper's life appeared urgent. But when investigators reconstructed the timeline day by day, small deviations began to surface. October 4. Nayla left work at 5:02 p.m. and stopped at a grocery store near South 19th Street. Receipt shows 2 single-serve meals and a bottle of sparkling water. At 6:14 p.m., Marcus called her. The call lasted 18 minutes. Cell tower data placed him near a hardware supply warehouse. October 6th. The $2,000 transfer from Marcus to Nayla occurred at 11:08 a.m. Her return transfer happened less than 48 hours later. That same evening, hallway footage shows Marcus arriving at 8:22 p.m. He leaves at 10:01 p.m. When he exits, he pauses outside apartment 3C for 4 seconds before walking toward the elevator. He looks down at his phone. He does not look back at the door. October 9th. Nayla searches online for How to Break Lease Early, Washington State. The search is conducted at 9:41 p.m. from her laptop. No follow-up searches appear in her browser history. October 11th. Marcus searches Apartment Sublet Agreement Template. The search is conducted at 7:13 p.m. from his personal laptop. October 12th. The 41-minute phone call between them occurs at 10:27 p.m. Immediately after, Nayla sends a message to a friend. "I don't think this is going to work." There is no name attached in the text. October 14th. At 6:02 p.m., Marcus calls. The call goes unanswered. He calls again at 6:05 p.m. and 6:07 p.m. The third call connects. Duration 6 minutes. October 16th. The hallway camera captures them standing outside apartment 3C. Timestamp 8:48 p.m. Nayla's arms are crossed. Marcus shifts his weight repeatedly from left to right. His hands move in short gestures. At 8:51 p.m., she unlocks the door. They enter. At 9:37 p.m., Marcus exits alone. He does not immediately walk toward the elevator. Instead, he stands outside the door for 12 seconds. His head tilts slightly toward the door, as if listening. Then he leaves. October 17. Nayla attends work. Coworkers describe her as normal. She declines an invitation for dinner after work. She tells one colleague she has something to sort out. At 8:12 p.m., Marcus sends, "Can we talk tomorrow?" She replies at 8:16 p.m., "About what?" He responds, "Us." There is no reply that evening. October 18. Nayla leaves for work at 7:58 a.m. She clocks in at 8:29 a.m. Security badge data confirms entry into the office building. She leaves at 4:58 p.m. At 5:18 p.m., Nayla enters Ridgecrest Apartments alone. Her phone remains connected to her apartment Wi-Fi from 5:20 p.m. onward. At 6:44 p.m., she opens her laptop. She logs into her banking app at 6:19 p.m. She checks her balance. No transfers are made. At 7:33 p.m., Nayla texts, "I'm outside." There is no camera evidence placing him outside the building at that time. Parking lot cameras show no vehicle matching his registered car. Nayla replies at 7:33 p.m., "I'm not home." At 7:34 p.m., he replies, "Where are you?" There is no response. At 8:11 p.m., he calls. The call lasts 12 seconds. It ends without conversation, according to phone metadata. At 8:59 p.m., Nayla sends, "Just got home." Investigators note that her phone had not disconnected from Wi-Fi at any point between 5:20 p.m. and 8:59 p.m. The message appears inconsistent with her device data. At 9:03 p.m., Marcus replies, "On my way." Parking lot footage shows Nayla's car already parked in its assigned space since 5:18 p.m. At 9:11 p.m., Marcus's vehicle enters the lot. At 9:17 p.m., the elevator doors open on the third floor. The hallway camera captures the sequence already reviewed. What investigators later considered significant was not only what happened that night, but how communication patterns shifted in the hours before. The message at 7:31 p.m., "I'm outside," conflicts with video evidence. The message at 8:59 p.m., "Just got home," conflicts with Wi-Fi data.
Digital forensic analysts examined whether either phone had been accessed remotely. There was no evidence of external login from unknown IP addresses. However, they did note that Nayla's screen activated at 8:59 p.m. for 7 seconds before the outgoing message at 8:59 p.m. No additional keystrokes were recorded after that message. Between 8:59 p.m. and 9:17 p.m., there were no outgoing calls, no app activity, no background movement data beyond stationary positioning inside apartment 3C. If Nayla had been home since 5:18 p.m., the text "just got home" was not literal. If Marcus had been outside at 7:31 p.m., there was no camera evidence to support it. These discrepancies were not immediately visible. They only emerged when timelines from devices, cameras, and call logs were layered together. Individually, each detail seemed small. Together, they formed a pattern of misalignment. And on October 18, at 9:17 p.m., that pattern moved from messages to the hallway, where the camera recorded everything, except 47 seconds.
On November 7th, digital forensic analysts completed a deeper extraction of data from the Ridgecrest Apartments security system. The original hallway footage had been reviewed in its standard export format, a compressed playback file provided by property management. The raw server files, however, contained metadata not visible during normal viewing. The 47-second gap between 9:18:12 p.m. and 9:19:01 p.m. was not a deletion. It was a splice. The internal file log showed that at 9:18:13 p.m., a remote administrative login accessed the camera feed. The login originated from an IP address assigned to a residential internet account in South Tacoma. The account holder, Marcus Ellison. Investigators obtained a warrant for his home network records. On October 18th at 9:18 p.m., a device registered to his laptop connected to the Ridgecrest Apartments remote management portal. The portal required administrator credentials. Those credentials did not belong to Marcus. They belonged to the property manager of Building C. When questioned again, the property manager stated she had never shared her login information, but her password, investigators discovered, had been reused across multiple platforms. One of those platforms was a small renovation vendor portal used for contractor scheduling. Marcus's renovation business had completed 2 minor repair jobs at Ridgecrest Apartments in July. Vendor records confirmed he had been given temporary portal access at that time. That access had expired. The password, however, had not been changed. The splice in the hallway footage did not remove Marcus entering. It did not remove him leaving. It removed the 8 minutes in between. Investigators reconstructed what likely occurred inside apartment 3C using physical evidence and digital timestamps. At 9:17:32 p.m., the door closed. At 9:18:07 p.m., based on Wi-Fi signal fluctuation logs, Nayla's phone moved rapidly from the living room area toward the bedroom. At 9:18:11 p.m., the phone's accelerometer recorded sudden vertical motion consistent with a fall. At 9:18:13 p.m., the remote login to the camera system occurred. The login lasted 47 seconds. At 9:19:01 p.m., the hallway footage resumed in its altered state. Inside the apartment, there were no overturned tables, no broken lamps. But in the bedroom, investigators noted a slight misalignment of the bedside rug, subtle but inconsistent with earlier photographs taken by friends during prior visits. Autopsy findings confirmed manual strangulation requiring sustained pressure for several minutes. No defensive wounds suggested that the attack was sudden. Text message analysis revealed something investigators had initially overlooked. At 7:31 p.m., Marcus texted, "I'm outside." At that time, parking lot footage showed no vehicle.
However, Wi-Fi router logs inside apartment 3C showed a new device briefly attempting connection at 7:30 p.m. The MAC address matched Marcus's phone. The signal strength indicated proximity to the apartment door. He had been inside the building earlier than originally believed. The message, "I'm not home," at 7:33 p.m. may not have been literal. It may have been resistance. Investigators theorized the following sequence. Marcus arrived at Ridgecrest before 7:31 p.m. He entered using knowledge of vendor access procedures, possibly following another resident through the secured door. He waited. At some point after 9:58 p.m., when the text "just got home" was sent, something changed. The Wi-Fi data shows no disconnection between 5:20 p.m. and 9:58 p.m., meaning Nayla had been home the entire time. The message was not informational, it was a signal. At 9:17 p.m., the elevator doors opened. The hallway camera shows Nayla unlocking her door calmly. It shows her stepping inside. It shows Marcus entering. It does not show urgency. But during the missing 8 minutes, his laptop accessed the security system remotely, likely through a device he had concealed nearby earlier that evening. Investigators determined the remote login did not occur inside apartment 3C. Signal triangulation placed the source within a 30-foot radius of the building's exterior east wall. Marcus had pre-positioned his laptop in his vehicle before coming upstairs. The login occurred while he was physically inside the apartment, meaning the splice had been automated, pre-scheduled, prepared in advance. The 47 missing seconds did not delete everything. It overlaid a duplicate timestamp segment over the original 8-minute interval, compressing visible time. To a casual viewer, nothing looked wrong. To forensic analysts, it was deliberate. The shocking twist in this case was not hidden in violence, it was hidden in preparation. The hallway camera did catch everything, but someone anticipated that it would. Marcus Ellison was arrested on November 12, 2024. During a search of his home, investigators recovered a printed document detailing the Ridgecrest camera server structure. The document was dated October 15th, 3 days before Nayla Harper was killed. The footage had always been considered neutral, an objective record, but the camera was not the only witness that night. The digital systems surrounding it, silent, automatic, and precise, preserved what human eyes could not see. And the 47 missing seconds were not an accident. They were the plan.
The initial investigation focused on the obvious. Marcus Ellison had been the last known person to see Nayla Harper alive. He had voluntarily cooperated with police, provided statements, and submitted fingerprints. On the surface, the hallway camera and phone records seemed to corroborate his version. He entered apartment 3C with her and left alone. But the discovery of the 47-second gap in the hallway footage changed the trajectory of the case. Digital forensic analysts reviewed the raw server files multiple times. Each frame was compared against the compressed export previously examined. The skipped segment revealed no distortion, no apparent tampering visible at normal speed. Only in the metadata did the spliced frames become evident. Investigators then re-examined the building's access logs. The property management system recorded every fob entry and exit, as well as vendor logins. Cross-referencing these logs with Marcus's phone location and Wi-Fi connections showed a discrepancy. On October 18, between 7:30 p.m. and 8 p.m., his phone connected to the Ridgecrest Apartments network from a location inconsistent with the parking lot. It was near the side entrance on the east corridor. No cameras directly monitored that angle. This small inconsistency suggested that he had accessed the building earlier than previously assumed. Investigators rechecked parking lot footage and found a car matching his description entering the lot at 7:28 p.m., then leaving briefly before returning at 9:11 p.m. The vehicle was unregistered in Ridgecrest records. There was no note of it on visitor logs. Forensic analysts also discovered subtle digital traces inside Nayla Harper's phone. The text sent at 8:58 p.m., "Just got home," had been composed after a brief screen wake event at 8:57 p.m. There were no corresponding keystrokes beyond the final send. The timing indicated the phone was idle, stationary, likely in Nayla's hand, but the message was not reflective of actual movement. Next, investigators reviewed the apartment itself. The bedroom rug had been slightly displaced, the dresser drawer had shifted, and the chair near the door was turned at an angle. These were minor, nearly imperceptible details. No furniture was overturned, no blood was spattered beyond the immediate area. Forensics concluded that all evidence pointed to a single, brief, deliberate act rather than a prolonged struggle. The breakthrough came when analysts combined Wi-Fi signal logs, camera timestamps, and Marcus's device activity. They reconstructed the exact sequence. 9:17:03 p.m. Nayla exits the elevator, enters her apartment. 9:17:32 p.m. Door closes behind her and Marcus. 9:18:12 p.m. Hallway appears still on camera. 9:18:13 p.m. Marcus remotely logs in to the camera system using credentials obtained months earlier. 9:19:01 p.m. Footage resumes, appearing continuous. The implications were clear. The footage had been manipulated in real time, in a premeditated manner, to compress the actual events that occurred inside the apartment. The spliced segment covered the exact time of Nayla Harper's death. Investigators obtained search warrants for Marcus's home and digital devices. On his laptop, they found the remote login portal still bookmarked. Browser history showed multiple visits to the property management system leading up to October 18. One page contained a diagram of the hallway camera coverage, timestamped October 15, 3 days before the murder. Another page listed the building's master fob codes. Marcus's previous explanation that he simply entered with Nayla and left could no longer account for these findings. Investigators cross-referenced this with text and call logs, phone location, and Wi-Fi connections. Every layer reinforced the timeline reconstructed by forensics. They also discovered attempts to remove or mask digital traces. Temporary files indicated that Marcus had used browser-based tools to overwrite cache data and clear history, but the raw server files from Ridgecrest were untouched. The automation he had used to manipulate the camera feed preserved timestamps in the metadata, essentially leaving a digital fingerprint of his actions. The investigation further revealed a minor but critical oversight by initial responding officers. They had not fully reviewed the raw server files. They assumed the compressed export was sufficient. The gap went unnoticed for 11 days. It was only after the anonymous call hinting at a wrong time that the raw footage was analyzed. By November 10th, investigators had reconstructed an almost complete timeline of the night. They concluded that the camera, thought to be an objective witness, had been deliberately manipulated to conceal the precise moments of Nayla Harper's death. No witness saw her alive after 9:17 p.m. The physical evidence, combined with digital forensics, pointed toward premeditation, careful planning, and manipulation of both the environment and technology. The breakthrough established not just what happened, but how the crime had been engineered to appear ordinary. It reframed the case from a straightforward missing persons investigation to a meticulously planned homicide designed to exploit perceived surveillance. Every subsequent interview, every document, every minor discrepancy in phone or door logs was examined under this new lens. Investigators realized that what appeared to be routine, casual interactions, the elevator ride, the brief conversation in the hallway, the unlocked door,
had been intentionally orchestrated to create the illusion of normalcy. The hallway camera captured everything, but only the manipulated footage had been visible in real time. The truth emerged only after careful forensic reconstruction, and in the process, it became clear that every small detail, previously dismissed as ordinary, was part of a premeditated sequence leading to Nayla Harper's death.
The Ridgecrest Apartments remained occupied after October 18. Tenants came and went. Mail was delivered. Maintenance requests were fulfilled. The building operated as it had before. The hallway camera continued recording, silently capturing ordinary movements: a neighbor with a package, a delivery driver pressing the elevator button, children running past on weekends. But for those who knew the timeline, the corridor carried a different weight. The camera that once seemed an impartial witness had been manipulated. The footage that appeared seamless had concealed 8 critical minutes. The events of October 18, 2024 had unfolded in that gap. The hallway, the elevator, the carpet, the walls, all had been ordinary, undisturbed, except for what happened inside apartment 3C. Marcus Ellison was charged with first-degree murder on November 14, 2024. He was denied bail. Court documents later revealed the meticulous planning, pre-positioned devices, knowledge of security system vulnerabilities, and deliberate exploitation of small oversights in building management. The crime was not impulsive, it had been orchestrated. Neighbors expressed shock. Many had seen Marcus and Nayla together. They remembered hallway conversations, shared elevator rides, and casual greetings. No one reported tension. No one could have predicted what occurred. Friends and family of Nayla Harper were left to piece together a timeline from phone records, receipts, and digital traces. Each small detail, the grocery trips, the gym visits, the Sunday phone calls, was re-examined, overlaid with Marcus's activity, and placed in a sequence that revealed the careful orchestration of her final hours. The 47-second gap in the hallway footage became a case study in digital forensics. Investigators noted that even cameras, when assumed to be objective, can be circumvented. Metadata, raw server files, and triangulated signals provided the evidence that the manipulated video could not. The Ridgecrest camera remained in place. Visitors, residents, and maintenance staff continued to pass beneath it without knowing what it had once concealed. It recorded movements, but it could no longer bear witness to what was missing: the absence of Nayla Harper. In court, prosecutors emphasized the combination of ordinary appearance and deliberate manipulation. They showed the gap, explained the remote login, and traced the preparatory actions Marcus had taken in the days before October 18. It was not a story of chaos or uncontrolled violence. It was a story of calculated planning hidden in routine. Family members attended hearings quietly. Photos of Nayla Harper lined the walls of the courtroom, smiling in sunlight, standing beside friends, holding a coffee mug in a living room much like hers at Ridgecrest. Each image reminded everyone that behind the calm routines of October 18, there had been a life abruptly ended. The digital record, however, ensured her death was not invisible. The hallway camera, the server logs, the Wi-Fi triangulation, and the timestamps combined to reconstruct her final moments. What was missing in perception was recovered through meticulous analysis. Yet questions lingered. How many others had been recorded and misrepresented by systems presumed neutral? How many ordinary corridors, elevators, and entrances had silently captured events that were never truly seen? For Ridgecrest, for Tacoma, and for those who followed the investigation, the case remained a lesson in vigilance. Surveillance is not infallible. Digital systems are precise but exploitable. Ordinary sequences can mask extraordinary crimes. And for Nayla Harper, the reconstruction of her final hours provided clarity, but not return. The sequence of texts, the measured footsteps, the door closing behind her, and the manipulated camera frames now told a story that the unblinking lens alone could not. That planning and calculation, hidden beneath normalcy, had ended a life in a corridor watched by many, yet witnessed by none at the critical moment. When the hallway camera is replayed today, the footage appears calm, routine. A woman enters her apartment. A man follows. A door closes. Time continues. But investigators, analysts, and families see the absence, the deliberate gap, and the sequence orchestrated to hide it. The camera was the witness, but the truth came from the evidence surrounding it. The ordinary moments it recorded were essential. Without them, the precision of the crime would have been lost. The sequences, the timestamps, the messages, and the phone logs all converge into one conclusion. Nayla Harper's life ended in those minutes. The hallway captured everything except the final reality. This is Never Seen Again.